D from DNC Digital back, and we're just a few days away, ladies and gentlemen, few days away from Mission Pro Wrestling Empty Promises. Again, I'm your boy D. I am a proud sponsor of this company and their amazing events and their awesome team. I love them so much. I'm just grateful to be a part of this. I'm grateful to have my name be a part of something so huge. And so we're just a few days away. It's going to be in Buda, Texas, at Pinball's Kingdom. If you cannot make it, Coach Webb, how you doing, sir? Hope all is well. Nice to finally meet you. Ryan Romano, as always, in the chat. So, like I said, Buda, Texas, Pinball's Kingdom. If you cannot make it, it will be streaming live on the Title Match Network. It's a show you don't want to miss. Just a bunch of talented women. Hey, what's going on, Robert? Every position in this company is held by a woman, and I just think that's awesome. Mission Pro Wrestling. And we are going to be talking to Kilynn King.
Okay, I got you. Hey, how you doing today?
Hello. Sorry,
How are you?
here. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. I always do Instagram lives on the way to every event that we do at Mission Pro Wrestling. So I thank you for your time and your graciousness to sit down with us.
Thank you for having me, dude.
No, of course. So I want to ask, right after we're done, just a little while after we're done here, our boss, Thunder Rosa, is going to be main eventing AEW Dynamite in the first women's main event, along with Britt Baker in a lights out match. You've been working for with AEW for a while now.
Yeah.
What does that mean for you as a woman in the professional wrestling business? How does that make you feel?
You know, it's crazy because women, we put our bodies through the same amount of stress and our minds through the same amount of stress as men do. And it's not to take away from men's wrestling at all, but, you know, it's when we get moments like this, it's really cool because it just kind of brings it full circle to remind people like, hey, we're just as badass. We work just as hard. You know, we're trying to bring women's wrestling up and bring it to the same level and caliber that people want to see it at. So when we get moments like this, it's like that, hell yeah, that hard work has finally paid off. So I'm super excited for both of them. I know they're going to kill it.
Oh, no, they're definitely going to kill it. Everybody watching, I appreciate it. We already have a large audience in this live. If you guys have a question, please click on the question mark on the bottom and answer your question. I'll be more than happy to relay it to Miss King. To add to that point, I feel like this is a strange question to ask in this time, in this year. We're already in 2021. Not in the case of All Elite because it's such a young company, but when it comes to women finally getting on the same level as men, main eventing WrestleMania, we had the U.S. women's soccer team, we had Hillary Clinton running for president. Why do you think it took this long for everything to progress and now women are finally getting their chance?
Ooh, that's a real serious question. You know, sometimes I think minds just need time to expand and grasp ideas. You know, for a very long time, people had this idea that women were supposed to stay home and take care of the kids and stuff like that. And so, you know, when there are those women who don't have those same ideals, who want to go out and be just as much of a workhorse as their husband or their partner, like it kind of shocks people. And I think over time, over the years, like, it started off with just a few people who were bold enough to stand out and do that. And now I'm losing my train of thought, but now like it's progressing. There's more of us. And so now the idea is more permanent. And so now that it's more permanent, people are now starting to expand their minds. Everything takes time. It's unfortunate that it does, but everything takes time. But that's why we just got to keep working at it.
Ryan Romano is one of our biggest supporters. He's asking, what do you think women still have a problem with as far as challenges in the professional wrestling business?
Maybe just time.
Yeah.
I know, and it's everywhere. It's getting better. But there's a lot more male wrestlers than there are female wrestlers. And so there's a lot more storylines that are happening in wrestling for men than there are women. So sometimes we have to work a little bit harder to get that TV time, to make people understand, like, hey, yes, it's going to cut away from them, but it's going to be worth it. We have something special here. Let us tell this story. So I definitely think that's the biggest thing is just getting more storylines for women and getting more time on TV for us, for sure.
Fair enough. Yeah. You are very active on your social media.
Yes.
You definitely know how to promote. You definitely know how to get eyes on things. In this age that we're at now, where social media is king or queen, you know, where do you see the pros and cons as far as the accessibility to somebody in such a large scale of, you know, public eye? Is it a pro or a con in your perspective?
It's a little bit of both. I appreciate social media for the fact that it's less, like, I don't have to drive city to city and put posters up and promote. Like, people still do that, of course, but yes. For us as wrestlers, it's a lot easier for us to get eyes on ourselves, because it's literally just a click away. All you have to do is own a phone and you can promote yourself. All you have to, I mean, back in the day, you had to have a big fancy camera or a really fancy, you know, picture camera, like, in order to, like, create really fancy content. And nowadays, like, smartphones give you the ability to create some really awesome stuff, and, like, a lot of the stuff that you need to edit it is there on your phone. And so within an hour, you have something really special you can put out online to promote you or a show you're doing. So I think that's definitely the pro of technology today and social media. The con would definitely be all the voices that are out there who have an opinion about something. You know, because as wrestlers, we're constantly trying to work on our craft and improve ourselves and give ourselves what we want, but also give the people what they want too. Because at the end of the day, we come to perform for people, not just ourselves. So when we think we're doing something great, and then when you go online and you see all the negative comments, that definitely can be a bit of a downer. But then at the end of the day, you have to remind yourself, like, everybody has an opinion. How do I feel about my work? So I think sometimes I definitely wake up with that battle where I'll see just one comment. I'll be like, damn, all right. But then, you know, you just got to shake it off. So, and that's part of the process. That's, you know, you talk about calluses for your body. There's also calluses for your mind, having to build up the stamina to endure all of that and still be confident in your work.
There was there was a show on Netflix hosted by Zac Efron. And the guy is just a good-looking cat. I wish I looked his tenth as good as he does. But the thing is, a lot of people don't know that Zac Efron struggled with body dysmorphia. Now, in a business where they call it the 8x10 business, you know, you look at the body first, and then you see the work in the ring. As a man who watches a lot of women's wrestling, you know, there are attractive women working in the ring. But the thing is, there is that same insecurity in male wrestlers. Are there ever conversations between you guys when it comes to negativity from the outside sources?
I mean, I think those kind of conversations, at least for me, on my end, those conversations, I have them with a few friends that I talk to daily. But for me, it's more of an internal conversation, an internal battle, because I've always been a very tall, thick woman. So growing up, like, I was always very insecure about that. And then wrestling is actually what kind of brought confidence to me, because, you know, I looked at women like China and I was like, this woman's big, strong, like, and she gets paid to do what she does. And she did it very well and people loved her. So for me, like, wrestling brought that confidence to me as opposed to the opposite. I mean, there's still those days, but then I have to remember, like, what my body does for me every single time I step in that ring, you know, like the bumps it takes is the beatings it takes. And yet every day I'm able to get back up and keep going. So there's definitely days where we're all like a little down, but I think most of the time we're just trying to lift each other up and remind each other what we're doing and how great that is.
You're not unlike a lot of professional wrestlers who started in another sport. I know you did some martial arts and you got your black belt before you decided to start training, but you also have a dance background. Now, it's easy to say that your martial arts helped you physically for your professional wrestling career, but are there any parallels between your dance career and wrestling as in terms of performance?
I think dancing definitely helped me with footwork. Because my footwork, everybody's footwork always needs help when they first start wrestling. My footwork, sorry, I'm having trouble saying the word footwork. It wasn't
It's
great.
okay.
It wasn't great, but I think dancing definitely helped me be a little bit more prepared for that, and also for basing. Because when so to go back to my dance background, I performed for a dance company at the Cleveland State University for a couple of years. And when I was in that dance company, I was the big, like one of two of the biggest girls in the dance company. And so whenever we would have sequences where girls need to be lifted, I was always the person to be giving the lifts. And
Yeah, okay.
so learning how to like engage the core, not just myself, but with them, and timing and stuff like that. I think the dance background definitely helped with that because it wasn't as difficult for my brain to process it when I started learning all that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Robert is asking, who is your dream opponent in AEW or Mission Pro Wrestling?
My dream opponent in AEW, I want to get back in the ring with either Swole or Serena Deebs.
I saw with Swole. Man,
Yeah. I think
you girls were just great. That was awesome.
with Swole,
Yeah.
yeah, no, she's a hard fighter, and she's just got so much swagger and confidence. And our match was pretty quick, but I feel like if her and I just had another chance to go
Mm-hmm.
at it, we would have so much more for each other. So I would love to get back in the ring with her, because I think I've wrestled almost everybody on the roster, maybe one or two girls. I think I haven't wrestled Anna Jay or Tay. Or I'm sorry, Ty. I said it wrong.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
right.
I think those are the only two girls on the roster I haven't wrestled yet.
Looking
I'd
forward
like
to
to.
that. When you talk about swagger, that big Swole had, your swagger has changed over the years. You
Yeah.
were the queen of crazy a long time ago, and you walked around with a stuffed animal. Can you tell me where that came from and how we got to this character that we're at now?
So when I first started wrestling, I wasn't like 100% sure who I was as a wrestler yet. So one day I was calling a match on the fly with one of my trainers, and I just started being like really weird and quirky. And by the end of the match, like everybody was like, yo, that was dope. You should play with that some more. So I was like, all right, cool. I had no idea where I was going to go with it. But then like a few months later, it was like post Easter, and I was in Target, and I walked by the kids section, and I saw this clearance rack, and there was this little bunny rabbit sitting on the rack, and I'm just like, I don't know why, but I think I need to buy this rabbit. So I bought the rabbit, and I took it to training, and my trainer looked at me and he's like, why do you have a stuffed animal at wrestling school with you? I'm like, I don't know. I just had this feeling I needed to do something with it. And he was like, all right, let's play with it. So I would like have matches with it. I would tag with it all the time. And it wasn't, yeah, it was super fun, and it was so silly. And I think at the time it was my little,
Comfort zone, maybe? You you
yeah,
you
it
you
just
felt
kind of
good
helped.
there.
It kind of helped open up my mind, and like let me have a little bit more fun, be silly, be a little bit more creative. Because before, like, I think my martial arts background, like when I would try to wrestle, I would be so serious and like just try to get straight to the fight.
Got
And
it.
yeah, and so my trainers would always be like, we want to see more personality. We need you to loosen up a little bit. And I think at the time, the bunny rabbit helped that. And the Queen of Crazy happened. And so um, I think I did the bunny for like a year and a half. And then Billy Gunn came up to me one day and was like, get rid of the bunny. I hate it. You don't need it anymore. And I was just like, all right. So I got rid of it. And then, of course, shortly after, I started working at AEW, and being in that atmosphere, it kind of like just being around so many great minds and just getting to pick their brains, it slowly started to like open up my thought process and just build my confidence. And I think that's when I started to realize like I can't be the queen anymore. I've got to be the king. And that's how that transition
And
happened.
even with every performance, you have a different kind of face paint. Is it more of an Is it more improvised before you go out there? Or is it like, let me just throw something on?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to play with the makeup more because, and I don't mean this in a negative way. I'm not when I come out, I'm not like a pretty girl. Like I'm this big, tall, aggressive looking chick. So I would always do like normal glam, and I'm like there's nothing there for me. I was like I need to try something else to bring out my features more, my character more. I was like, there's something there. I just need to find it. So of all things, I went on Pinterest and I just started looking up like all these crazy makeup ideas. And then I found one that I really liked that just happened to go with my gear at the time. And I was like, oh, the color scheme's perfect. So I tried that one first. And then like, I don't know, like every week I just try to find something new and I try it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But because I had the new green gear, I was like, all right, let me try a new one. So I did that. And actually, I got a lot of good feedback about that one. A lot of people liked that one the best. So I think every single time I come out, it's just going to be a little bit different. Just because it brings more out in me. I feel like more like a beast when I put it on, if that makes any sense. Like,
Definitely. No, definitely.
Yeah.
You can definitely put yourself behind that and kind of get into the character that way. More get it internalized.
Because growing up, I always wanted to be like the Amazon badass warrior kind of chick.
Okay.
I think that kind of helped me tap into that and find.
Yeah, with a few of those, you look like you just walked out of a tribe into our civilization. And I was like, Jesus Christ. But you mentioned Billy Gunn, so I know you worked with him a little bit at Team 3D Academy with Devon. You also worked with Haku and Gangrel. Out of all of those trainers, because there's such eccentric personalities, what do you think the most surprising trait would be about them that you found out?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. Okay, so Bubba is terrifying, but he's really funny. Like if you listen, like if you're really paying attention to him, a lot of the time he's being very sarcastic, but people are so like, that they don't realize it. And so like, I'll just be sitting there and I'll be taking him, like I always take him seriously, but like, I'll be sitting there like, and then I'll just like kind of to myself because I'll realize like, he's just messing with everybody. Devon, his brain is amazing. Like, I remember like when he would be there with us, just like, he would take a spot that we did and he wouldn't necessarily change it, but he would just tell us how to act it out differently, and it would make the world look different. So I think some people don't realize how like genius his brain is. Billy, he's a big goofball, like because he's so tall and he's so muscular and so big. People are always like,
no, he is the most one of the most physically imposing people that you wouldn't expect it, because you saw him in Smoking Guns and then Outlaws, and he's doing this thing. By the way, one of my favorite wrestlers. But then when I saw him like doing his strongman stuff, I was like, that's Billy Gunn. That's like
he's
huge.
He's amazing, and like I have to give him a lot of credit because when he came in and started training me, like I was in this phase where like I just couldn't relax, and he just knew how to talk. Like I feel like sometimes you hear the same thing from a bunch of different trainers, but one trainer says it a certain way that it just clicks with your brain. And he was the trainer that the way he talked to me and taught me how to relax and talk in the ring, it clicked with my brain. So I connected with him very deeply on that because he just knows how to talk to me to get me to understand things. And I get his sense of humor because it's kind of similar to Bubba. A lot of people are terrified of him, but you just have to know how to talk to him. And then like 2 seconds later, he'll crack the biggest smile. So, and I really love talking to him about, like I was telling you, I love China. I really love talking to him about China because he gets the biggest smile on his face when you bring her up.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
that was his girl back in the day. Like that was one of his greatest friends. So it's always really cool to like just bring her up and see what kind of stories he tells you. But yeah. Oh, and Gangrel, I'm actually at Gangrel school right now.
Yeah. I just met him. I want to say like a week and a half ago. He did an autograph show out here in South Texas. Cool as hell.
I think the thing that people don't realize about Gangrel is he still moves and bumps like he's 30-something years old. Like he goes ham. Like he has not let age slow him down at all. Not that he's old, but you know what I'm saying. Like
of course, yeah.
He has not slowed down a bit. Like I remember I was at a show. It was one of the casino shows back before COVID hit, and I forget who he was wrestling, but they went to go get him in German, and he just started laughing midair, and I was like, "This guy's crazy." So yeah, it's.
Last but not least, what about Haku? What was your experience like with Haku?
He is a sweetheart.
Is he really?
Oh
All the
my
stories
God.
that people have of him?
No, like my experience with him, he was a sweetheart.
Got it.
I remember the first time I met him, I hadn't been training very long, so I was very scared to get in the ring with him because I didn't want to like do something wrong or come off disrespectful or anything like that. So he was calling stuff to me on the fly, and because of his accent, he kept trying to tell me something and I couldn't understand him. And so I accidentally like clotheslined him funny or something like that. And
Oh,
he just scooped me up. He put me in a headlock and he said, no, sweetie, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. And we just kept going. And
oh
then
my
like,
God! I would. One time, I accidentally actually clotheslined my trainer, and he just gets up and he looks at me like right in the eye and just biggest chop in the chest, like,
oh
and
no. Yeah.
you got lucky with how cool. I got
My,
some. Oh, you know what? I have a story of Bubba when we went to. I grew up in Jersey, so we were able to go to a lot of shows and go to a lot of autograph sessions. So there was one with Bubba and Devon, and they were leaving the limo. And somebody in the crowd, we were all standing in line. Somebody in the crowd says, "Devon, get the luggage," and I got a good laugh from everybody. But Bubba, and you can attest to this because this was his personality. He laughs like four Ha's. He was like, "Ha ha, that's funny." And
yep.
we were just like,
Oh,
"What
he's
was
great.
it?" Or no,
He's
he was
great.
hilarious. I have some questions here that I need to get to.
Okay.
Hey, these are good questions. Let's see. Robert Crossley says, "How many days do you work out?" I'm assuming a week.
6 days a week. I always take Fridays off.
Okay.
Because usually, especially if I'm traveling, Fridays are always the day where I get back and I've just finished driving and I'm so exhausted. So I go to the chiropractor and then I come home and I sleep. But yeah, even when I'm on the road, even if it's just for 40 minutes every day, I get to the gym and I get it in because you never know what you're going to end up having to do wrestling wise. So I always make sure I'm ready.
Charles, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Fazati? Who were or was your inspiration to break into pro wrestling?
Uh, Non-wrestling wise, my brothers. I have five brothers, and like that's pretty much how I got into wrestling. I grew up watching it with them, and like that was the one time where we would all just sit down, shut up, and get along. Is
Nice.
when wrestling was on the TV, and four out of five of my brothers went into the military, and out of two of them, out of all of them, wanted to get into professional wrestling, but when they got out of the military, their bodies were just so broken that they just couldn't do it, and so I knew that I wanted to do it personally, but when I saw how heartbroken they were that they couldn't do it, it lit the fire under me even more.
So
Um,
how do they feel now that you've been on
oh, they
AEW
love
for?
it. They
That's
love it.
awesome.
They message me all the time. They're like, "Yo, I saw you do this. I just did the Cesaro swing this
I
past
saw that.
Dark
Yes, on
episode."
Judgment
Yeah,
Allure. Yeah.
and my brother loves Cesaro, so he immediately messaged me. He's like, "Yo, that was awesome. I didn't know you had that in your repertoire." And I was like, "I know. I was saving it just for you." Yeah, so it's really cool because they're off doing their own thing now. They were with me for a really long time when I first moved to Florida and started learning how to wrestle. They were a part of that journey, and then eventually we all went our separate ways. So like the fact that they're still tuning in and watching and keeping up with it just makes my heart happy because it shows how much they care and love and are
Yeah, that's
happy
so
for me.
cool because you mentioned wrestling being the only time you guys hung out, and now it's pretty much a really big topic of conversation and probably made you guys even closer. I do
Yes.
want to ask you about your parents. You have a couple of really sweet pictures of your parents on your social media, and
Yeah.
you talked about your dad not letting you win during arm wrestling, and he was tough on you. And
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that post was so long ago. You did your research, man.
what I do, that's what I do. Get
Yeah.
used to it. What's one thing that your parents taught you that you feel has stuck with you this entire time?
So I'll say this for both of them. They both taught me that you just got to work your ass off. But if I have to break it down a little bit more individually, my mom definitely taught me that it doesn't matter what age you are. If you have a passion for something, go do it. Because she went to school to become a teacher before she met my dad. Actually, I'm sorry, before she met her first husband. And then,
Okay.
she got married, she had kids, and so she decided to put her education on hold. Um, and then eventually, like once all of us were born and she was married to my dad now, we were homeschooled for the longest time, so she taught us for like 20 some years, like all of her kids. And then eventually we would go into the public school system. And so once I'm the youngest child out of all of us. Once I was in high school, she went back to college and finished her degree. And I mean, that's a long
awesome.
period
That's
of
so
time.
cool.
Yeah, a lot of people at
Hell yeah, Mom.
school,
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. And I remember too, because like I was getting ready to graduate high school as she was getting ready to graduate college. It was like really, really cool. And I just remember
she's like hanging out with the people you want to hang out with. She's like the cool older women.
It's so funny though, because like I remember her always coming home and like stressing and joking about how like all these young kids think they're so funny, trying to crack jokes in class and all this stuff. She's like, they're dumbasses. And I'm just like, wow, Mom, I'm about to be one of those kids. Thanks. And I think for my dad, just his work ethic is like the most ridiculous work ethic I've ever seen. Like he put himself through college not once but twice. He's an engineer. He for like 30 plus years he worked for this company called Philips Medical. And yeah, so he works with like medical machines, and he pretty much breaks them down and makes sure they do what they're supposed to do before they get used in hospitals and stuff. So he's a very smart dude. But like growing up, he grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and he really didn't have a lot. His parents didn't really support his education very much. So he literally worked at like fruit stands and hardware stores and electronic stores, and like he worked 4 or 5 jobs at a time just to put himself through school, and then he did it twice because he wanted all of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And then even with a full-time good paying job, after he had all of his kids, he would work 2 more jobs on top of that just to make sure we had everything we wanted. If we wanted to play sport, we could afford the equipment. Like he was just one of those dudes who worked his butt off and never complained about it. And I think for me, like that's a big thing that I took away from him. Like just grind. Don't complain. If you want it, just work for it. So kind of a little bit of a both from both of them, but in a different kind of story. Like just
get it from all angles.
Yeah.
What is a match, male or female, past or present? Okay, so this falls under anybody in history you wish. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. This is an interesting question. A match, male or female, past or present, that you wish could happen. I guess, what is your dream match in all of wrestling history?
There's a couple I'm thinking of right now, but I'm trying to decide.
For me, I want to say it would be Kurt Angle against Bret Hart.
Oh, so it's not me. It's just like people who I want to see wrestle. Okay, I thought they meant like who would I want to. I
would like to see against Sensational Sherry.
Oh, that's a good one. Hell yeah. Because I was going to say if it was male, for me, I would definitely want to either wrestle Shawn Michaels or Mankind back when he was...
Mankind? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite matches is Mankind.
Well, like Dark Mankind, the first Mankind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What match was it? It was him and Shawn Michaels at...
Mind Games. Mind Games, 96.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's not like you watch the match, it's nothing crazy. It's
but technically speaking, I would say that the fundamentals were all covered.
Yeah. Like
it was just a great story.
But they delivered it so well. And it was just like, oh, it's so good.
Always in the little details.
Ooh. China versus Charlotte Flair. Maybe.
Oh. Yeah.
I think that would be really good. I was trying to think of someone current and someone from the past and put them together.
I've always wanted, or either, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong for bringing up his name. I don't care. But I would have loved Ken Shamrock against Chris Benoit.
Oh yeah. No, I don't care.
Do you remember when Benoit just kept saying "prove me wrong"?
Yeah.
I was like dreaming of Ken Shamrock to come back when he was doing that. I'm like a historian when it comes to WWE. I'm obsessed with that. Okay, nerds of wrestling. Favorite pizza topping?
Favorite pepperoni and sausage. I'm a basic bitch.
Okay.
Actually, because I used to work at Domino's back when I was in college, and they have that barbecue chicken pizza. When I was feeling fancy, I would do that one, and that's
feeling fancy, little pinky extended. I get it, totally get it. This is a good question. Inspiration behind your finisher, Kingdom Falls. What is the inspiration behind your finisher? And are you seen as the Becky Lynch of AEW? That's a very interesting question.
You know, I've had a couple people say stuff like that online. I don't see it. I mean, I get it. We both have red hair.
I think it's the red hair. That's about it.
Yeah, but
I wouldn't say like any other comparison besides the hair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we look alike at all. Like, I think our wrestling styles are quite different. I don't know, but I mean, people see what they want to see, so I get it. I mean, it's not an insult to me. I think Becky Lynch is dope as hell. So, sorry, what was the rest of the question?
Oh, the inspiration behind your finisher.
Oh, my finisher.
That's a hell of a
thank you. I actually, so my finisher used to be this combo of a powerbomb into a shining wizard. And I couldn't hit it very well on everybody. Like, it wasn't like 100% crisp all the time. So I eventually was just like, I need something new. I need something fresh. And plus, you know, power bombs are used so often that I was like, let me switch it up and find something that you don't see a lot of girls doing. And I was literally just on YouTube scrolling through random videos, and I saw AJ Styles give the move, and I was like, oh, I like that. Because for me, like, I always wanted my finisher to be something that when I saw, I was like, oh, that was dope. You know what I mean? So, like, when I saw him do that, that was my reaction to it. And so I was like, all right. So I learned how to do it. And then I started, like, practicing it on different bodies. And I was like, all right, this is a move I can do really good on everybody. Let's do it. So that's pretty much how it happened. The other move that I really would love to use one day, I think there's a different name for it, but I know it as the Orange Crush. The stalling suplex, and you flip them out into a power bomb.
Oh, into a sit down.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to eventually throw that in my repertoire, but right now I got to get stronger first, because I tried it and it was hard. It's a very hard move to do.
I'm gonna throw one out to you. I've never done this, but if you do this, just wink at the camera, and I know it's for me.
Okay.
If you were to do a pump handle, right? You get her on your shoulder, and then you drop to one knee and kind of post her into a backbreaker. What do you think of that?
We can try it. I'll
Pump
try
handle, right? Get her on your shoulder,
Yeah.
then do the one knee backbreaker, and she's this way, horizontal on your knee.
Okay. We'll figure it out. I'll
figure it out.
I'll figure it out. I'll work it in, and then I'll make sure wherever I'm at, I'll wink at the camera.
Wink at or wear a DNC digital shirt. One of those, it's fine.
There you
Just
go.
go out in gear with my logo. It's fine. I do not want to cut into Thunder's big moment. So one last question. Mission Pro Wrestling, as we know, every position is held by a woman, and it's awesome. I am a proud sponsor of that company and all their crazy events. Could you real name it? Okay, no, it's fine. It's another question. But I do have a question. What do you think Mission Pro Wrestling is doing for women now, and what do you think they'll eventually do for women in the future of pro wrestling?
I think it's really this is obviously my first time working with Mission Pro, so I haven't actually got to go there and experience for myself in person. But from what I've heard and what I've seen through videos and stuff like that, I think Thunder Rosa and Mission Pro and everybody there is really creating a very powerful environment for women to come in and just be free, have fun, express themselves to the fullest. Like, there's no limitations there. And I think, like, as we were to go back to what we were saying earlier, like, it's a lot harder for women to get spots than it is for men.
Right.
There's not as much time for us. So I think the fact that we have a place where it's just all about the women, we have that environment where we can figure some things out and go ham and see what we're made of. You know what I mean? Because I definitely think that I haven't had one of those matches yet where I forget there's a term for it. It's like the special match where it's like the 20-minute long, like, holy crap, I can't believe I just had that match moment. And I think I think that environment is that place for women to come and have those kinds of matches and she's bringing in, like, very influential, powerful women, and it's all just about lifting each other up and having a damn good show. And I think that's something very, very special, because at the end of the day, we all are out there trying to get jobs and be significant in wrestling. So when we can have an environment like that where we're just coming to have fun and work and be the best version of ourselves, that kind of environment is very, very special to have for women and women's wrestling.
Guys, Miss King will be facing Ray Lynn this Saturday in Buda, Texas, at Mission Pro Wrestling Empty Promises. You know what? Do that move on Ray Lynn. You don't have to try it in AEW. Just see how it feels this Saturday. And if not, it can move on to AEW.
Okay.
I swear to God, I'm going to hold you to that. If you don't do it in your match, I'm going to stand at your merch table and just hold my hands at my hips and just look at you.
Okay, but if I do it and it goes badly, I get to flip you off.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Easy. I love being a part of everything. Miss King, thank you so much for your time. If you're following Miss King and you're not following me, hit my name right there, DNC Digital, and follow me. And if you're following me and you're not following her, do the same for her. Again, against Miss Ray Lynn this Saturday at Mission Pro Wrestling, Empty Promises, Buda, Texas, Pinball's Kingdom. Even though our fearless leader, Greg Abbott, has decided to get rid of the mask mandate, we are still enforcing social distancing and masks at the show. Temperatures will be taken at the door. Everybody, please have fun. It's a great show. And if you're not able to make it, it will be streaming live on the Title Match Network. I'm D for DNC Digital. You guys take care of yourselves, and good night. Go to TNT. Go to TNT right now.
Yes,
because Thunder Rosa, get off of this phone right now. Go to TNT. Watch Thunder Rosa against Britt Baker. Love you guys. Peace.
Bye.